All right. I'm trying to work on the orientation. I know the image is going to be flipped because it's on my phone, I think is the problem. I will be trying to get a GoPro in due time in the future because of streams like this, but I want to try this as well because I'm done with Platinum. We're in between where we're almost at the holidays, and I don't want to start a new Pokemon game, especially since I may be going to Twitch after New Year's to try Twitch out, but we'll give this a try, see how it does. I'm going to be playing around with my Game Boys today and cleaning them. What's up, guys? Hello, Ramon. All right, I got my isopropyl alcohol, my Q-tips, my vinegar, and I do also have my soldering iron on hand for if I need it, if I need to go mess around with wires and whatnot. Let me think. I think for Christmas I am getting a new soldering iron. So, that being said, we're going to open up this Game Boy because it's a little finicky where it turns on sometimes and other times it doesn't. And let me throw a game in. Let's throw in Yellow that I streamed a few months ago. See how that does. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so it's playing through. It's still a bit finicky on the screen, so I'll have to replay those vids. Oh, you're fine. Yeah, it wasn't as hard as some of the others I've played through. Emerald was the hardest so far. I just swabbed those with alcohol. I refuse. Normally I do, but that was like my quick, hey, I want to get this on real quick. Normally it's not the game though. I think it's just the game cartridge slot's a little dusty dirty, but let me check this. It's been sitting in my emulator thingy. It's not bad. There's not really much on there. Yeah. This I clean these religiously. It's more than likely just the game slot to this because it's sitting in a drawer. Regardless, it's still collecting dust, but it's the only one with batteries in it. This is a modded Game Boy. If you don't know, I made a video on this around or after COVID. It was like 2020, 2021, something like that. I made this and I made a purple one. They're both funny playing mods. This one more so doesn't work more than this, but this one's being finicky, so I'm going to start with this one first and see if it's wiring or the low production values in these. Reminds me of the videotape cleaning stream did over a year ago at Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I am considering going to Twitch to hopefully maybe garner some more people. Okay. Other thing I also forgot to mention is I have my multi-tool screwdriver set. So we'll be bringing this out. So, even the back screws are tri-wings, so I need a tri-wing. These are also random because they have smaller sizes of tri-wing and then they go to Phillips heads, then they go to a different size, and then like another, and then tri-wing doesn't show up again for a hot minute. It's like, can you just keep all the fucking tri-wings together, please? Please. Point 0.6. Dude, it's playing Houdini magic on me. This is why I probably need to get a iFixit set because this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And then, so we go from tri-wings being up here to fucking down here. Keep all the tri-wings together. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. You want to irritate me, you make an ADHD person want to friggin' pull their hair out. I ain't opened this up. Don't forget me on Twitch. Oh, I sure won't. I think she even used a loaf of bread as a stand on her mobile. I am using the tripod I used to film, I think it was the Dreamcast video. I got it when I bought the PSP. And so far, it's been a godsend. I used to have a tripod. Are you fixing well, kinda. Here, there we go. Probably what we more so wanna focus on anyways. This is a butcher's block. Why is that a random Phillips head? Did they must not have given me enough screws, that's probably why. I hate when the okay, there we go. I was like, the screws sometimes get stuck. Is that another Phillips head? No. Uh, there we go. Okay, want to be random. Keep that for that, and then one Phillips head screw. That might be too big. Nope, just right. Just a little Brita low stand. Trust me, it'll be better. Okay, that off to the side. Only stuck here because the screw didn't want to come all the way out. So, hello, there we go. Okay. So it's connected via ribbon cable just like a normal DMG. So this should be fine. This is the back motherboard. In that stream, she cleaned mold off of videotapes and then, ooh, that's actually interesting. Yeah, this shouldn't be an issue. This should be perfectly fine. It's this where the mod is, because it's all a new front motherboard. This isn't the same motherboard that you would normally have on a regular DMG. So is it this? Is it the wires? The speakers sound fine. These look fine. Okay. Get in there. May not have been seated all the way, but I'm gonna check everything, make sure we're all kosher here. There's a couple Phillips heads in here, so we'll pull this out in its entirety. None under there. I will say I am probably gonna have to finish this stream, unfortunately, at 12 o'clock on the dot because I have to go get our Jeep from the mechanics. We wanted to make sure that it was kosher for the trip home. And we got the transmission fluid changed and the filter changed, which is much needed for a Chrysler product because Chryslers are notorious for transmission issues, among other things. I was raised a Chevy girl, but coming from my first car being a fucking Ford, you don't always want to have to swear by a specific car brand. If you've never driven it before, don't knock it till you try it. And that's literally what we said going to the Jeep. Okay. Man, that speaker's in there. Okay, I was gonna say that speaker's in there pretty good. Hello? Okay. A little dusty, but it's not too bad actually for the last 4 to 5 years. No, this looks good. The solder points I did look amazing. Hmm. This is the motherboard itself. Now, I did everything correctly. Where or not the motherboard, but the pretty much the guts to the screen, because this is part of where the mod gets itself. Now, as you can see, I think somewhere on Reddit, someone had the most issues. Yeah, I can confirm this because growing up, we had a Dodge minivan. It was a purple one. It was from like 1999. And that's what we used. That was like our last family vehicle before my family split. My mom took the van after they split. My dad ended up getting a Buick from my grandma, and my grandma ended up getting a Chevy Cobalt, which sucked so terribly. She only had it not even a year, traded it in, and got a brand new Chevy HHR. I've never, anyone else in the family, never known anyone to buy a new car other than my grandmother. HHRs are the equivalent to a Chrysler PT Cruiser, but I liked the HHR much. I kind of wish and I regret I did not get to keep that vehicle, but yeah, the minivan dropped its whole transmission one day on my mom, and all the transmission fluid dumped onto the bottom of our garage floor. We had to repave the garage floor because there was no getting that out. No amount of kitty litter or anything was going to save it. So she traded that in and got a Chevy Equinox, and she stayed with Equinoxes for a while till she went German. And now she and my brother have went, I'm not saying to the dark side, I'm just saying it to be funny, have went to the dark side. My mom and my brother, well, my mom started out with a Mercedes. That's what I learned to drive in. I learned to drive in a couple vehicles, but when I finally fully got my license, it was that Mercedes is what I passed my driver's test in. And she traded that in because we beat it to hell trying to get our driver's license in it. She traded it in for a BMW X5. It's like an M Sport package. My brother also has a BMW. Um, Great vehicles, very safe, very expensive. Very expensive. So there's the screen, and this is the guts to it. Now, as you can tell, I've done everything correctly. This is the funny playing piece that keeps this piece safe. And then I just only used a few pieces of Kapton tape to keep it down, which Kapton tape is what is recommended to keep everything. And I'm going to be honest, everything looks solid. Everything looks solid. The only thing that's actually technically and all honest to God wired in is the speaker, and that's working perfectly fine. So let me quickly clean the speaker quick. It might have been the ribbon cable might have been a little loose, so I'm going to see if that was it. Maybe? Maybe? I'm just cleaning the speaker just for my sanity's sake, cuz that is dirty. Oh, it's not bad, but it's just dusty, needing a good cleaning. I'll clean this little port too where it's sitting at since it's getting dust. Yeah, a little bit. Not bad. Just a little bit. And as you can tell, I didn't remove the 3M tape to this. Normally they're like, "Yeah, remove the 3M tape." That's if you permanently I prefer Japanese, nothing fancy. They just last forever. I approve of this message. I approve of this message. Please tell me you have a Toyota or a Mitsubishi, because I am 100% behind them. Both of them. Also, Miata. I love me a Mazda. I love Mazda. But I digress. Don't even get me started on cars. I will go down a different rabbit hole that nobody understands here because this is video games. So most people, when they mod this, suggest you remove that 3M tape here. Me being me, and me wanting to do exactly this, which is come back into this system and clean it, you can't do that once you remove this 3M tape. So that's why this 3M tape exists. Now you can see what I had to modify on this because this is missing, this is missing. I've had to modify this over time because I even had to file this down. I can see the file marks. But I have many of those. I love a Toyota. They keep their value too, though. I am just lightly going over the screen because it's got a little bit of dust particles on it, so I'm just... Yeah, it's dusty. Let me go grab a microfiber cloth. Give me 1 second. Okay. There we go. All right. This will also help. Jesus. This will also help. Okay. Stick that puppy back in here. There. It can't use the bottom ones because it doesn't align with them. This is made for just about any system, but as long as you have it holding into something, that's fine. What is on my buttons? Clean that a bit. These are my silicone contact pads, and I'm just dusting them off a little bit. Yeah, they're dusty. Like I said, it's been a minute since I've been into these systems. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, look at that. Dirty. Very dirty. Okay. That goes here, that goes there. Let's look at this one. Dirty. Hope you're all getting ready for Christmas and everything. On Saturday, I literally wrapped everything and put everything into gift bags and all that fun stuff. Okay. That's pretty good. And then I don't want to discredit because you can't really see the dust on this one, but that doesn't mean it's not dirty. This one sees the most dust because it doesn't have plastic buttons in front of it like these do. This is, you're literally pressing the silicone on this directly, so just want to make sure that's good. Okay, that's aligned. Okay, now we're going to make it so that this ribbon cable's underneath here, and also that my friggin' speaker aligns. I'll probably do the speaker first, since that can be a bit of a pain in the ass. There it is. Okay. Mm, come on. I guess what should you do first, the chicken or the egg? Like, shouldn't be this hard, but it is. I'm trying to make sure that the ribbon cable is in there in its entirety. Oh, you know, it helps that this thing is open. There we go. Okay. And then, where are you? There we go. Okay. That looks good. Everything's flush. I test my buttons before I start putting it back together. Okay. Try to keep my items where I had them. Okay. You don't want to over tighten on something that isn't really built or meant for this stuff. So you just want to make sure that when you're screwing these in, you're not doing it over too much. Let me see here. There we go. Where all the screws go, or do you use a diagram? I have them lined up. I don't know if you can see to where they were specifically. Now, you can also use like a ice cube tray. You can do that too. There is no rhyme or reason, honestly. If you mix them up and put them in different areas, that's fine. Just as long as it goes to where it was, which is the motherboard, you should be fine. Shouldn't have any issues or anything. Luckily, this doesn't have as many screws as a normal DMG does because normally there is a total of 20 screws, and I think this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's got 2 screws less on the front motherboard because these were cut out up here where the screen's at. I will say I am due to probably try one of these funny playing mods on a Game Boy Color. I've done Game Boy Color mods, but not on funny playing. I did a Ben Ven one. Okay. Now this should be ready to connect. So now we're going to connect the 2 motherboards ribbon cables back. I'm not used to such a long like a long cable here. I'm trying to be careful, but also there we go. Making sure that's seated in there. Okay. Then just make sure everything's I have no clue what you're doing. I enjoy the fire. You're good. All right, so one Phillips head went in here. Since I have my Phillips heads already matched up. Okay. And then switch to dry head. Speaking of Ben Ven, I wonder if my Joey Jr. suddenly working in free. No, don't hide chat. This is something new in 15.0 or something I did wrong in 14.3. I never had issues with the mod. Um, But not a lot of people anymore have been going to Ben Ven. They've been sticking to like funny playing and stuff because it's easier. But everyone has to remember that Ben Ven was like one of the first to like give us mods for some systems that we truly wanted it in. Like Game Boy Color, I think, was one of the first things he did. And that's my favorite Game Boy system out of all of them. Go. These screws I'm using that are tri-wing here, I think were the original ones. They didn't they didn't always have tri-wing. What the previous comment meant. Essentially what it means is hold on one second. Trying to think of too much at once here. Um that there could have been problems either with the mod or with the um installation or just, in general, but overall, his mods are pretty good. All right, let's try this. I will be using the batteries from this system, and anything else that's AA, AAA's, I'll have to go steal it out of a remote or something. All right, let's. I almost forgot I need to clean this. I didn't take apart the back motherboard because I didn't need to. Normally, you can do other methods of cleaning this with. This isn't probably the best, but it's a it's a way. It's a way. When are those cells slated to expire? Good question. Good question. Already have. I know it's backwards, but 3 of 23. These are my only good double A's I have. All right. Let me. I could have gotten a different colored screen, but because I'm working around the mod, trying to get a screen that'll work with this is a little bit harder. So this is an original, like, Gameboy DMG. Don't let that Gabby brain overheat. Ready? You can also, with this, can change the brightness. You used to be able to change the color, but I don't know if my wheel's working or not, so I may have to fiddle with this. The wheel did give me issues when I first installed it. This was my from Pokemon Yellow when I played it on PC. Where I left off with Mewtwo. My Game Boy looks very, 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 yeah, it very, very much is. It's a brick. Yeah, y'all remember Slowbro? There he is. Yeah, it's not flickering anymore either, so I must have almost empty, but they can still power that remote control. Yeah, probably. Uh, yeah, this isn't flickering anymore, so I guess the cables were probably a little bit loosey goosey. So this one's fine. Okay. It was being funny when I was turning it off, but that's a mod for you. You have copied that save file. Yes, that's the whole point of the GB operator here, which is by Epilogue. You connect it to your PC. Not only can you play the games on your computer, you can save the save files on there, so this way they are never lost, regardless if your save battery goes. As long as it's on that computer and it's saved on there, your save file is eternal. But yes, I have saved that save file on there. Alright, one Game Boy's good. Now, let's go for the one that's been giving me issues that won't turn on. Let me see here. Is this triple? Yeah. This TV is newer, and so are its batteries. And these were the batteries that came with it because it says not for resale. I don't think there's a date on these though. I know they're Duracells. Duracell. Oh, okay. The date's on the top here. Um, 12 of 2028. They were manufactured in 12 of 21. 2028 is when they'll go. I bought this TV in 22, 23, somewhere in there. So let's fiddle with this for a second with batteries real quick. No battery acid leakage. Okay. Okay, it powers on. That was several months after I started studying batteries for some reason. Okay, that's the contrast. This is volume. I have to remember volume for Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color. Volume down is high volume, volume up is low volume. Alright. Let's throw in a different game. All my good games are hidden, but let's do Miss Pac-Man here for you can when it's a colored cartridge like this, yes, you can play it on DMG, but you can play it on your Game Boy Color too. It'll allow it. Okay. It's already giving me a wonky. So, that just means I need to clean the game and the cartridge reader. That was a little dirty. Alright, now let's clean the cartridge cleaner real quick. Okay. What we say here? I saw something. I will say I do not like the chat for my phone. Re-release of Wario Land 2 has an anomaly with the save file with that though. Oh really? That's kind of cool. Alright. Let's try this. Okay. There it's reading. Good little cleaning. So will it play or is it just... Waka 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 waka? Hmm? Hmm. My buttons were responding, and now they're not. Huh. Okay. So yeah, there is reason to go in here. Alright. This was a very distressed Game Boy Pocket when I bought it. I bought it off of eBay from Japan. And I will say the Japanese really do like their game systems, don't get me wrong. But the like the screen, just like a lot of Game Boy Pockets, the LCD screen was damaged beyond repair, like way damaged. It was like burnt. And I could feel the grease through my gloves that I was wearing when I was cleaning it. So I know that wasn't a good LCD leakage. That was very bad. It was not good. But I didn't spend an arm and a leg. I buy broken systems so that I can modify them and give them the life that they deserve. Because regardless if it's Japanese, American, European, they will play all the games that you could ever want. There is backwards compatibility with Game Boys as well as not region locked at all. That's another reason I love Game Boys. Okay, you're going to be a butt. That's fine. I did really good putting this together. Okay. Okay. I am so glad I didn't have to bring out that soldering iron for that last one. This one might just be some cleaning. Game Boy Pockets are like the Game Boy DMG, or the Game Boy Colors, very easy. I'm looking at my solder point to my one area. Game Boy Pockets are also nice because they only have 3 screws into the one motherboard. And when you do this mod, there's only one wire you have to solder. Now, I did solder this at one point, but that was for the, that's for the touchpad. So there's a touchpad you can get with these, and I don't think this one came with it, but it's so that you can play around with the dimness and the contrast, and that's probably why my screen doesn't do all the bells and whistles that normal it would. But you have to have it to the power pad for it to do anything. So unfortunately, I'm convinced you can fit anything. No, I wish. I wish. I've played around with computer PCs at work whenever they go wrong. I am great at cleaning like systems, but when it comes to looking at a PC and saying, it could be that. Like I have to I'm getting better with diagnosing them, but at the same time it's like don't rely on me to install it. Because I am not good at that stuff. I have not even installed my own PC. My PC was pre-bought the way it is. All right. So, I'm gonna have to be very careful because the, what are you doing? Hello? This is a little wonky. Okay. I have to be very careful because it's soldered to the motherboard. So when I take the motherboard out, the screen's gonna have to be carefully going with it. See? It's soldered. It's soldered right to one of the legs on the power board or the power switch. And honestly, that's okay. I also did good job Gabby stuff, which is Kapton tape right there, all covering up, so this way there's no shortages. A lot of people we used to use when we were first modifying these electrical tape, but that's actually still not correct to do. You still want to be using Kapton tape for these because it could still short circuit with electrical tape. Okay, a couple of the membranes. These aren't too bad. I'll still clean them though. This I modified as well, however, I don't think I had to modify this as much. I can feel the 3M stickiness. It is so sticky. I only did a couple of parts, like four corners, just so it had some adhesive, because it was still kind of loose in there. You have to remove this bottom part of the plastic to the screen so that you can put this mod in. So yes, that's why I undid the 3M on this one. But overall, it looks pretty good. I just probably need to clean the rubber membranes and their contacts. I'm also going to be honest, I don't think these are the no, these don't feel like the original no, they're not. These are newer rubber contacts, so that could also be the problem because the contacts that came with mine, like I said, were demolished. Absolutely 100% demolished. The system was well loved and played, and that's how it should be, but it was in shambles by the time I got it. I'm glad I did. Okay. Mm, okay. Let's see here. I'm more of a supervisor. Are you the type of person who would reboot to exit? Yeah. Recently had to do that with my GVC's start and select buttons because they required more force to activate. I'm more of a supervisor kind of person. I just stand around and nod my head. This No, you're good. You're good. All right. This all I'm going to clean the speaker real quick. It's not like it's giving me issues, but I'm already in here. A few years later, might as well just keep my maintenance up. Yeah, this was a uh new shell because Game Boy Pockets didn't come in this purple. Um New shell, new mods, new buttons. I think the only thing that's original, I'm a strong believer in using your things, not keeping in a box. Facts. Um the only thing original to this is the motherboard. Beeping his attempts to enter text because she forgot to enter. Insert! Okay. Let's put in the buttons and the membranes here real quick. Okay. The other thing I'm gonna do is just conveniently put this back in where it belongs. Maybe. Okay. Trying to get the happy medium. Okay. Yeah, one last thing is the screen. Okay. I would be very irritated if I saw a bunch of fingerprints on my screen. There we go. Okay. Somehow see if this goes back in like so, and then everything else wants to cooperate. That's the question. I think we're playing nice right now. I think we're gonna play nice for right now. Let's see. Okay. One last one. Putty to remove hair or dust. Putty's a good one too. That's actually not a bad idea. I think they do make office putty now so that you can do that exact thing. That's a very valid point. Okay, starting that. Try and orient this back around here so it doesn't get pinched. You don't want the one wire that's there to get pinched. I don't have any more Kapton tape. I do need to get more, but I would love to place down that wire, but for right now, it'll have to do. Okay. Switch back to, I think it's Tri-Wing. Yep. Tri-Wing is the safety measure they use so that you don't have as easy of a time to be taking apart these systems, yet they're the only company to do it at the time for Nintendo. Xbox did it with theirs, but I don't think PlayStation did. I think PlayStation had normal like Phillips head screws in theirs, which I find hilarious. That was Sony. And Sony was going to be partnered up with Nintendo at one point, and they were going to make a Super Nintendo disc system. And they said, F you, we ain't doing it. And Sony went and did their own thing and made PlayStation. And now they're still competing to this day against Nintendo. I don't like the direction they've went in. I'm not a real fan of them. But I loved the first two systems, I will say that much. Okay. Yeah, there isn't really much soldering to these, so honestly, I didn't think I'd have to use the soldering iron, but the moment I didn't have it nearby, the moment I needed it. Miss Pac-Man. Dave's Archives has a habit of calling toll-free telephone numbers he sees in old advertisement. Oh my god. It is currently 7 a.m. I'm watching Gabby clean and mod her devices. Still a bit dirty, huh? Let's just make sure here. Double check. I will say I don't have my computer on, so I don't exactly have time told to me right now. I may need to keep at least some sort of clock. Okay. Let me do this just so that I have some sort of clock on. I'm just turning on. Many of them have become SFW hotlines. Oh God. Ah, that is scary. Ah, God, that's terrible. Yeah, especially if you're calling a number that used to be on this, which was the Nintendo fix. Oh, don't worry. I think they still make the stickers for them because this was my original DMG, but I had redone the shell and I put stickers on it, and this was one of them I bought. But yeah, that was the old Nintendo repair hotline. So if anyone wants to give it a try, go for it. I'm not, nor am I telling you to, though. All right, there we go. There's my contrast. My, I'm not liking that. All right, just throw my yellow in there. My volume has a lot to be desired, so I'll probably need to change the speaker on this because that's the original speaker that came with it. It still worked at the time, but I think this one's tired. All right, these buttons are working fine. That Miss Pac-Man game is just flawed beyond belief. Start button works. Oh, I don't have my bike. And I don't have it on me. Damn it, red! But anyways, yeah, this one's working fine now. I do need to replace the speaker, so that'll be something I have to do in the future. So, speaker change. All right, on to the next one. Uh, I really want to find where I put the rest of my Game Boys. So, give me a second so I could grab. It has some screen cancer outside of the viewable area, though. All right, give me 1 second. Let me go find my bag of Game Boy games with my Game Boy Advance I've modded. Hold on. Okay, that's what I wanted. This is how I travel with or bring around my Game Boys because no matter what system it is, it'll fit in here. Right now, it is my Game Boy Advance that I've modified myself. And currently, what was I playing? Fire Red. This, however, is a bit different where it's not batteries, it is rechargeable. Um I don't think I made a video on this cuz I was toying around with doing a voiceover video. I have the physical like video like the video segments themselves. I just need to see how I can do voiceover and then I'll probably try and upload that one. I still have all the stuff I did to make this, but um anyways, this is rechargeable and it's USB-C rechargeable. Problem is when I ordered this, I did order a plate or a battery cover that had the hole to it and they didn't send me one. So, I had to modify it myself with a Dremel tool. So, it does charge via USB-C. I chose two of my favorite colors, which is blue and purple. And it's dead. Hold on 1 second. Let me steal the charger off of my Xbox controller here. And the way you can tell that it's charging is if it's blue, which you can just faintly see. If it's done charging, it would be green, and I forget what red or yellow is supposed to mean. But it's a little finicky, the power button, so I definitely need to change that. But look, now I don't have to go find a friggin' light to go put this under. This is a glass screen. Against the manual's orders. Now the speaker is fine on this, but it also has its moments where it sucks. So this one also needs a speaker change, but it also will have a power switch change. Hello. There we go. This is my child. This system right here. I made my fiance one. And when we got together, my first mod I made him was a modded Game Boy Advance SP. So he likes his Game Boy Advance systems. He is a Game Boy Advance connoisseur. He loves Gen 3 though, so I can't say I really blame him. So let's look at my team because I have no clue. Um, Persian, Ivysaur, Nidoking, and right now Oddish. I don't know if that Oddish was on my team. Hey, Cosmic Flare, how are you? Yes, I am. I'm playing around with them. I was just bringing out my baggie and showing you guys this mod I've done that I haven't put up on video yet. But yeah, this is my GBA, and this is my favorite GBA out of the two that came out. I am more of a Game Boy Advance than an SP person. Over time, that's changed though. I used to be a GBA SP girl. But yeah, let's have a Persian, Ivysaur, Nidoking. And I can't tell if this was supposed to be for cut or if I was actually going to use it. Oh wait, I have Ivysaur, so I wasn't going to use it. But yeah, I didn't make it far. What gym am I at? Oh, this is my fiance's save. This isn't even my save file. Or is it? I don't know. We had a gameplay where we were playing Fire Red and Leaf Green, and yeah. Okay, I have 3 gym badges. And the way I can change the screen is touch. This one's touch. So I can make it brighter, and then it restarts, and that's the dimmest it'll be. I chose the right starter. I'm glad to know because that one's my favorite one. So that's that one. This is just Beyond Dead. All my Pokemon games I keep in the top sleeve here, and what games that aren't Pokemon, I usually keep them in here. Yeah, his was sexier, I was sexiest. Don't question it. I have no I have 2 Pokemon Reds. Yep, it is a touchscreen. I think I'm going to get to a point where I will start making Game Boys for people and selling them and taking commissions essentially because I got this far with this and it still works and everything because I made this in like 2023, so it's been 2 almost 3 years now. Um this is my pride and joy. So I think I might start doing this, but I have 2 copies of Red. I didn't know this. Don't worry. There's still a fresh copy right in there. So not only is it 2 copies that I have loose, I got 3. My boxed Pokemon collection is my pride and joy, though. All right. This is my copy of Red that I've had for years. Years. Oh, don't worry, Ramon. Let me be the first to tell you that you'd probably be the first one I'd make a Game Boy Advance for. The question is, are you an Advance SP or are you an Advance man? This was another copy I had bought, and I think the reason I kept it is because there was some OP Pokemon. I'm not joking you. I think this had a lot of OP Pokemon. So what I can do now is put this save file on my computer, and then that way I'd have more comfort deleting this save. Let's look at it, shall we? Show and tell. Because this is not my save file that is on here. I know that for a fact. I still kept these because they're level 100s. Still have the same somewhat physically worn since I got them copies of Red and Blue. Hell yeah. Oh, let's turn the brightness up a little bit. His name is Ash. And he's put 48 hours, 39 minutes. Even has what I believe to be bite marks on its shelf from past owner. That is not edible. These games are not edible, people. We're on Cycling Road. Listen to music. Just transfer the. That's essentially what I'm gonna do. But transferring Pokemon now, especially from Gen 1 into something newer, is a bit of a bitch. Now, people can do it, but most of the time they use like their computers to do that. And mainly that's what's gonna be happening. Is this save file is all gonna be put on my computer, and then that way I can probably happily delete this because this might have a save file I might want to keep, but we'll see. Let's why did I shut that off? Let's look at the Pokemon, shall we? Oh, let's take a look here. My boy! My boy! Look at him! He's gorgeous! I love Gengar. He's a level 100 Gengar. Sitting with Dream Eater, Confuse Ray, Nightshade, and Hypnosis. This is why I didn't use it, because it mainly was just status effect moves. So I'd buy a Japanese green version. Hell yeah! Blastoise. My man's here cheated to get his team because that's one of these is the original. And he's sitting with Surf, Hydro Pump, Bubble, and Skull Bash. Why Bubble? That is such a... Anyway. Tells me you've been playing a lot. This isn't even mine. A Jolteon, which everyone should know from Pokemon, my Pokemon Yellow. This one has Pin Missile, Thunder Shock, Thunder, and Double Kick. Ducks, which I know what this is. This is a Farfetch'd. It's the only way to get Farfetch'd in the game. And he's sitting with Slash, Fury Attack, Agility, and Fly. This was his flyer. I don't know how he dealt with this. Gabby the goat. Its name is Cool. It's a Charizard. Okay. Cut, Fly, Flamethrower, and Dragon Rage. Then tell me why I have this. Why are there two Charizards, my man? Traded Pokemon have an OT name consisting solely of a controlled character that tells it to... Oh. So we're sitting with two Charizards. Mind you, let's fly to the nearest Pokemon Center real quick. Ducks. Yeah, just take me to Vermilion for a second. I don't care what town it is. Alright, I'll deposit one of the Charizards here real quick. Because I'm not going to save this. I'll just turn it. All right, let's withdraw. So we're sitting with a level 51 Kadabra, a level 55 Rhydon, a 64 Chansey, a 46 Magneton, a 30 Parasect, a level 100 Raichu, a level 100 Raticate. Are you kidding me? Eradicate? A level 100 Vaporeon, and the Charizard. There are level 100s in here. That's why I could not bring myself to delete the save file. Someone spent a lot of time on this game, and I didn't have the heart to delete it. So I will be putting this on my GB operator and putting the save file on there. Because I believe this is an original battery. Let's take a look here. I have my Gamebit batteries here, or my screws here for opening up Nintendo games. That's an original battery, y'all. Date on the battery? 1999. Now, this isn't when the game came out. The game came out for America, I think, in 98. So this copy is a bit newer than release. Because I gotta double check and see what's on this save file. Because this is my original red. This was my cousin's copy. So this is from, like, childhood. This is, like, the Game Boy game. The Game Boy game that started it all for me. I'm dead serious. When you want to go to origin story, this is it right here. At least the label's still intact. Could be much worse. Alright. That's red. Let's look at my copy of red here. Not as in-depth, I don't think, than this person's. See what's inside a cartridge. Aw, I love going into the cartridges. This is my copy of red. Oh, this is why I haven't deleted it, because I'm not swayed one way or another. I can delete this copy whenever. So, this is just a team that I left off at. I have a 38 Blastoise. Guess what? Nothing's new there. I got a Jolteon. I got an Alakazam. One of the most broken Pokemon in Gen 1. I have a Golem. This was my first time with a Golem. I actually enjoyed this one. This is a Snorlax. That no one ever was. Say, I got a question. Have you ever considered being an electronic repairwoman? Actually, funny you mentioned that. I have actually been on the toss-up end as to taking a P.O. box and opening it and letting people send me systems or games that they want fixed. And I'll fix them. Obviously, I'll charge for labor and whatever parts it might take to fix, but if it's something that can't be fixed, I ain't gonna charge you other than what's shipping. But I have considered that, and I think I may do that, along with modding stuff for people if they so choose, because modding is not cheap. When you see systems that are modded and they go for 100, well, this is dollars currency. If it's over $180 to $200 or more, like $250, that's a roundabout, depending on how many mods are put in there. That's a good roundabout as to how much it is, let alone the fact labor. So, if you all want me to do that, which it looks like you're all saying I should do that, I will look into P.O. boxes and opening it up. I'm not going to start with a big P.O. box as of right now, but I might just do it just so that I can see what people send in. I'm terrified at the same time, too, because it's the internet. It's the internet. Oh, no way, I didn't get him up there yet. My favorite Pokemon hasn't evolved yet because I'm waiting for him to get a move, hence why he's still Growlithe. He only has Bite, Takedown, Ember, and Leer. I'm waiting for him to learn a move. What move or when? Oh, my phone's up there. Anyways, I'll look that up later, but I can essentially restart this save file if I wanted to. I'm not attached to it. So that's probably why I never deleted that save file. Um, 2 copies of blue. This was one of the first ones when I started. Capable of fixing. If you do and study hard, you'll be able to save. That's probably what I'm going to try and do, is try and save as much as I can. When I started getting into video game collecting, this was one of a ham sandwich though. I sure can. In fact, I can modify it even better and I can make it into a turkey sandwich. Also, the best way to make a good sandwich, along with the mayonnaise, you gotta put mustard with it. Don't knock it till you try it. Reason being is because when it was in the sales, that's how you were able to tell. This was one of the first games that my dad got me when I was getting into video game collecting. Oh, I never did look at the save battery for this because this has been my treasured. This has been my precious. Hello? Holy shit. Why is my save battery like that? I think it might be close to death. It ain't leaked through, but it's got this weird, like, fog to it. It's so weird. Look at the battery there, but it's dated 12 of 98. So this was the original year that this game came out. So this might be an original game copy. Wow. I tried fixing it because one of the plastic pieces that holds the game in fell out, but I still have it. Shockingly. Oh no. I'm gonna plane in the tuchus. Come on. I need you to go together, please, in your entirety. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's my original red. Blue. I also have, like I have shown on my YouTube, my complete Pokemon main series collection. This is a lesser, but it still has a copy of blue in there. But I have blue, crystal, gold and silver, which this copy of crystal here is what I'm going to be playing after New Year's. This is what game cartridge I'm going to be on. Let me look at this real quick, see what save files on there. Probably nothing I'm too attached to. Do you hear how it kind of like popped there? This speaker needs changed. It's unreliable. Time not set. Oh no. Best subscribes. Aw, thank you, Ramon. Appreciate it. Oh god. So when it says the clock's time may be wrong, my battery's dying. So guess what that means? Gabby's gonna be changing her battery, probably on stream right now. I just gotta find my batteries. Please reset the time. It is Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Yep. So this battery's actually about to die. I named him Joker. Who is 169? Geodude, Poliwag, Zubat, Cyndaquil. This is under. Oh no, this was Sean's. This was Sean's save file. He played this for a minute. He only got to the first gym. That's why I said it's probably a throwaway save. It's not mine. Um, did have batteries back there. I'll have to look and see where I put my Game Boy save batteries because I kind of need those. I'll have to look for them. I know I have them somewhere. That'll be a different day when I play around, but good to know I need to change the battery on this before I start streaming this. Let me check my other safe batteries on these. There's gold. Speaker didn't want to work there. See, it's not even working now. Okay. Hero. Huh. Me or Sean was playing this copy. I think it might have been Sean. If I'm playing and I'm playing Gen 2, I go to Lugia every time. My favorite legendary. So let's see my save file on here. That battery's fine. It didn't give me a reset or anything like that. Let's check this one. Volume works now. Nope. Battery is A-okay. I didn't even make it far. Good to know. Alright. This, other than Crystal, that needs a new save battery. La 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 la. Remember how I said I had a mystery dungeon game? Yeah, I have Red Rescue Team. Black and White or Black 2, White 2? Yes. Have I ever finished the games? Black and White, yes. Black 2, White 2, no. I've never finished them in their entirety. And they'll probably be the next game I play after I play Crystal at the beginning of the year. So that'll be next. This is a spin-off game. It is Red Rescue Team. That's awesome. Was this the Emerald copy I used to play on stream? Does this contain Giuseppe? I think it does. Sure does. Here you go, Ramon. Your buddy's still good and well. He's still here. God bless America. I love him. He literally got me through that game. These are original copy. Well, this is for me especially. I got this at GameStop years ago. The label was ripped off. Someone had made this and I couldn't bring myself to change it cuz it's so awesome. This thing's been through hell and back. When I got a copy of Sapphire with the proper label, I was like so weirded out. I'm like, I'm so used to my makeshift shitty copy of Sapphire. Did that even get alcohol? You dirty bastard. It being the oldest means it's also the dirtiest. Okay. See what one of my. Sean and I will play this again and again and again, so I gotta see how far I even made it into this one. Yeah, the internal batteries run dry. At least it doesn't affect the save file in this game. It just affects clock. I didn't put any time to this. I got a level 14 Mudkip. What we got here? This is a very battered copy of Ruby, but let's see. On drive, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that ain't even my save file. I think this was the OG person's save file. Yeah, there's a level 100 Rayquaza on here. Yeah, I'll have to save that. I'll have to save that copy. So yeah, I gotta look at. I gotta double check the battery on this, make sure it ain't leaking. This is a Game Boy Color game. A little different, but not much from a Game Boy game. I've changed this battery already, as you can tell by my wonderful soldering points and lack of date on here. I'm just sad to see this save file go. Well, not sad, but for the battery at least. Man, I did a pretty decent job putting that in there. I'm pretty happy with that. Guess my 10 years are up on it though. Usually these batteries will last 7 to 10 years. That's why I try not to get super uber attached to Gen 2 Pokemon unless it's Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Yeah, the bigger screwdriver is if I wanted to, if I wanted to go into a, let's say, a NES game. Never mind, I'm stupid. This is for the system, so if I wanted to go into a Super Nintendo, if I wanted to go into a Nintendo Entertainment System, a Nintendo 64, regardless, this is for any game. So I could go into a NES if I wanted to. You want to see the guts of an NES game because it's hilarious as to how much plastic they fucking used for these things compared to the game chip motherboard ratio. I'm dead serious. All right, you ready? Some of them have these, so you have to mind the clips. This is Mega Man 2. There. There's your game. I'm not joking anybody here. Hello? Why are you being so difficult? Oh, because you're hooking it up from here. There we go. Yeah, that is your NES to plastic. Some of these do have batteries. This one doesn't. It's just Mega Man, but this is literally your childhood sitting on a game board. 1987, older than me. This actually is in really good condition, this whole motherboard. That's pretty sick. Anyways. Okay. You're gonna need to play nice. There's your toe! Wasted space. Yeah, I know. I mean, shoot. If you look back on my video history, look at the boxes for Japan versus America. Look at the size difference. This is what Japan had. You still had ads and stuff in here. A map and all the games and stuff. Like, that's everything in there. Compared to America's, where we're adding even more boxes upon boxes. Yes, the people didn't notice. Not really, no. Alright, alphabetical. Only OG Mega Man game I'm missing is 5, which is the most expensive Mega Man game to get my hands on. I have every single one of them. I did have to do a little bit of modding to my first Mega Man game because the case was not in the best, so this isn't the original shell, this isn't the original label, unfortunately, but the game is. So, OG Mega Man. That is the Japanese green. It's the only Japanese main series game I have. So 1, and then I just fiddled with it, but 2, my favorite Mega Man game, 3, 4, which I think that's a rental sticker. It says video game on the or video 1 on the back of it. It's faded. It's very faded. But this is Mega Man 4. And then Mega Man 6. Yeah, I'm missing 5. And then 3DS. In my games I like to travel with, I have like Super Mario Land, I have Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle 2, Castlevania Adventure, Donkey Kong, Game Boy, Tetris, Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle 1, and dogs. That's it, just dogs. So that's what I travel with whenever I bring my Game Boy with me. Anywho, I'll let that charge. No. All right. Next, we're going to open up a Game Boy DMG, and DMG means dot matrix gaming or sound. We're gonna open this up and just clean it. I think one of my fiance's buddies was talking about one, so I am going to open this up and clean it in case this is one that we are wanting. I need to modify it. The only thing they want changed in this is instead of double A's, they want to keep it original. Oh my god, I love Nintendogs. I absolutely love Nintendogs. All my games for that are in the storage area, but I have every Nintendogs game. They want to change this from batteries to rechargeable to USB-C. So I will be modifying that, but other than that, they want to keep it all original. I asked if they wanted a modified screen and they did not. So, that's fine with me. It's a little bit less hassle. Also, this Game Boy is completely and perfectly working fine. I just need to clean it. You're usually able to tell with the motherboards as to which version it is, how old the Game Boy is with this one, so I'll have to look at it. Because little do people know, they made a book for that. And it'll tell me each motherboard and which version this potentially is. God, did too good of a job with that one. Need to chill out when I put this back together. Okay. Just like the red one I showed you guys, there is a ribbon cable, but as you can see, it's not as long. This is how it originally is supposed to be. But you still disconnect it the same way. So let's take a look at the back half because that'll tell me um, where I'm at. I'm gonna hold this in my lap real quick so I can figure out. There's only 4 screws to the back half motherboard of this. 6 screws that hold it together, 4 screws on the back motherboard, and 10 screws on the front motherboard, making it a total of 20 screws that hold a DMG together. I'll never open up a device, but I am so invested in this. I was that curious kid that had to know or wanted to know what was inside my childhood all these years. Actually, that's not bad. So, and to tell the way that you have the original system also is if all the numbers match. So there's a number sequence down here on the stamp there, and then there will be a number sequence on this motherboard. It so happens to be over here. When did I start opening stuff? I didn't start getting into it until I got like a legitimate government job. Well, not government job, but I worked and got a paycheck. 2015. So, it's been 10 years now I've been doing this. And okay, so the reason and the way you're going to tell is with this numbering down here, DMG CPU 06. So, let's take a look in this book here, and it should tell me. It comes with 3D glasses because there's some Virtual Boy aspects to this, which is also going to be coming in handy when I go and play around with Virtual Boy stuff. Okay, history, Game and Watch. I need the motherboards. It's gonna take me a minute, so bear with me while I try and go through this book because, oh God, there's the Virtual Boy. Oh, this was the way Japan boxed their Gameboys for the DMG, right down there. The way we boxed them, I don't have all the papers to it, but this is an original acrylic because it's got the code. But this is a box that your DMG would come in. This is the Play It Loud, so this is a yellow one. And this is where your game pack would be, the cables and everything. I just got the original box with it, so. Alright, anyways. Again, American advertising and stuff is bigger. Moving on. Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light, Game Boy Color a little bit. These are games. I need. This is every friggin' Game Boy game. Oh my god. I just wanted to know the motherboards, man. S T W. Okay. Alright, then we're at accessories. La 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 la. Work boy. Unreleased games. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know there were unreleased games. Heck yeah! Unreleased Game Boy games. The code's decoded. So these are most of the Game Boys. There's still so much more out there. Game Boy Pocket. There we go. Game Boy hardware. Okay. This is the schematics. Oh, hell yeah. Uh, this is more than I can understand. This is a lot of schematics. Okay. LCD controller display. Okay. DMG CPU 01 and 2. And CPU 3 to 6. Let's see here. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 is right here. The DMG CPU 3 was the first Game Boy motherboard model released in Europe. The first units produced included the revision A of the SoC and the fifth version of the LCD board, but they were very quickly replaced by the DMG CPU B, the most widespread SoC of the DMG series. These revisions were produced between 1990 and 1999 simultaneously with the MGB, which is the Game Boy Pocket, and DMG CPU 07 series, which underwent slight modifications to offer higher reliability. Thus, the power supply part that has been improved. The display, two revisions for the series offered better reactivity and the wave channel bug, which did not render samples correctly on SoC revisions 0 and A, had been corrected. In spite of these assets, it was the DMG CPU 06, which is what I'm holding right now, that won out, which contained a D-type power supply regulator 6th revision and a DMG CPU-C SoC. This quote-unquote perfect generation of Game Boy with its silkscreen DMG CPU 06 motherboard was produced between 1998 and 1999. This system has been out since 1989, mind you. This revision of the motherboard was 10 years later, when I was like four or five. 3 or 4, 1998, 1999. Huh? Wow. Anyways, so yeah, we're looking at a 1998 to 1999 model of a Game Boy. Battery contacts look good. Well, good. Now I know what year it came out. So this isn't too bad. I'm going to put this back in and put the power switch back in like so. There we go. All right. Let's put this back together because it's mainly the front motherboard that'll need cleaned. This one, not so much. Well, it's good to know that this came out around when I was a kid. All right. That's the back half. Here's the front half. These two screws up here by the ribbon cable are what are normally removed for the mod, which is what I showed you with that red one earlier. I really do apologize for any comments I may have missed during the live because I really wish there was something to keep it up on my screen the whole time. I'm not choosing to ignore anybody. I don't see it fast enough when I'm looking down and also trying to look at my camera. Okay. This is the front motherboard. It can be a little sticky in there. There we go. Just clean those. When they're talking about the SoC, I believe they're talking about this, which is what controls your LCD for the DMG. But this is the front motherboard to the screen to what you look at. I'm not ignoring chat. Ah! Don't worry, there's other stuff than DMGs in here. I just had a lot of DMGs I had to clean. Okay, that's my fault. Microfiber cloth likes to stick to everything. I'm just making sure the screen is nice and clean. Okay. Ugh. Pain in the tuchus. Okay. Clean the speaker? That actually wasn't bad. This one doesn't really see too much. It just sees when I pull it out occasionally. Dirty nonetheless. I don't know if I ever did clean this one though to its fullest extent, so just a good cleanup. Clean that. The AB button contact pad. And the start and select buttons. Okay. That should be clean enough. Oh, one more thing I should probably clean. I am going to give this to somebody. I will properly clean all the contacts, make sure it responds. Because they do get dirty over time. They're seeing a lot of button mashing. And that's where your contacts are. Alright. Should be good. No, no, no. And I think this thing's actually about to fall out, so before I do give this to somebody, I will probably need to change this vinyl screen, because it is falling apart. As you can see, you don't want that happening. So, for right now, we'll just do this, but I will need to change the screen protector. I'll try to keep it as original as I can for him. Okay. That's in. That's good to go. All right, now we'll put this back together. Anything you guys are excited about for Christmas? Anything you asked for that you're wanting that you're excited you might be getting? Me? Uh, it's not like I'm not excited for Christmas. I am. I am more of a family oriented person when it comes to Christmas. My presents don't really mean a whole hell of a lot. Now, obviously, there's some presents over the last years that have meant so much to me. Like, there was one year I don't know, not all of you, actually, not a lot of you were girls, so you wouldn't relate, but there was a baby doll I wanted when I was in second grade called Baby Born, and I got it that year. That was one of my favorite Christmases. Um, my other favorite Christmas was last Christmas when my fiance was saying, "I didn't get you anything. I didn't get you anything." No, you did. He popped the fucking question. That was probably my favorite. Me for this year, I'm gonna be home enjoying time with seeing my family that I don't get to see every day anymore. And uh depending on how much money I get for Christmas, I'm not accounting for everybody to be giving me money for Christmas. I could care less, but it would help in some sort of way for me getting a Switch too, because now my fiance and I are going to have to get Nintendo Switch systems for the new Pokemon game, and we're both Pokemon gung ho. So sometime in the year 2026, both my fiance and I will be getting Nintendo Switch 2 systems. I know I'm also looking forward to hopefully maybe getting a Virtual Boy sometime next year too. It's just what I want to get first, I don't know. All right. So, speakers for the Pocket, the Advance, and a screen for this. All right. Now, try and put this together. Okay. Okay. Switch to the Tri-Wing. Oh, chat. I'm sorry. Visitors have always been extremely rare, and a teacher was shocked no one was visiting us for Thanksgiving. Oh, I love parking in a full parking lot and pretending I'm leaving. You remember Baby Born? Oh, hell yeah! Will you get a new shell? I might. I might get a new shell. What product do you use to clean everything? I use, I get this at Walmart, 91% isopropyl alcohol. If I have battery corrosion or damage from battery acid leaking, which part of what this video is going to entail, I use white vinegar for the battery acid. And I'll show you that is chemistry on that one. That is a chemistry project on that one, on how it reacts to battery acid. It's so cool. Problem is though, is it doesn't, it still works after you do it, but I would really like to re-nickel the springs when they get done, because some of them will get so rusted and pitted from the battery acid for sitting for so long that I want to add the nickel back onto the springs. But so far when I've done it, it hasn't affected them, but there might come a day where I do that and it doesn't work and I have to re-nickel it. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute, cuz oh look. Yeah, I'm more of a sentimental family person because I learned at a young age that not everyone's going to be in your life forever. Family wise, friend wise, whatever. Someone's always going to die. That's the reality of life. And I clung to a lot of family members over the years and really cherished when I'd spend time with family as a kid. Not a lot of kids would, but I did. Um, but anyways, let's steal the batteries out of this puppy real quick, and I'll show you the horrid screens that these came with because there's so much ghosting that I'm shocked anyone could play these damn things, which is why the Game Boy Pocket exists, but there was still ghosting. Wasn't until the Game Boy Color did they kind of fix that. By the way, the contrast does affect. So sometimes when you say your screen ain't working, it's working. You got to play with the contrast. So that turns on. Let's throw a game in here. Throw good old Tetris. Is it? It's glitchy! Tetris, you dirty game! It's either Tetris or the Game Boy, so. This is in a protector, though, so I doubt it's the game. This is the game that came with, this. It's my boxed Game Boy. Pretty sure it is. Let's take a look. Only thing that's a little bit ruined on this is this part of the styrofoam. I made a video on this, but this is my DMG that came boxed. I try to keep it with everything. No, I got another copy of Tetris with its case. Never mind. Well, shit. A lot of the stuff in here, if you haven't seen the video, is original. The link cable is still in its baggie, and the twist tie is still on it. You can't. There it is. There's the twist tie. It's still on there. The headphones that come with this, still in there, still original, still in the package, never been taken out. Do you know how much I paid for this damn thing? The only thing that came extra with, and I still to this day don't know if it was for someone with a guitar or something, because it's got these tiny little headphone jacks on both ends, here and here, but then I have this big fucking one that looks like it goes for a guitar. And it's been in these have been in the box here. What's supposed to be in the box is the system, the link cable, the headphones, the game, and then here is supposed to be the original batteries, but those would be corroded at this point. So, I don't know what these cables are for or why, but they're in here. And I'm going to tell you how much I spent on this in, I want to say it was 2015 or 2016 I bought this system. 2016, I think. $75. $75 for this. I'm not joking you. This thing's almost legit complete. All right, really? All these years, you're in there. Stay. I ain't breaking any more of this styrofoam, man. Cherished. Love this thing. Essentially, what I did when I got a job is I made my childhood happy. I wanted Game Boys as a kid. I wanted a lot of systems as a kid, but we could never afford it. And I never really tried to push my parents too much because I knew they couldn't afford it. But I made my inner child happy, is essentially what I did with Game Boys, and it's now turned into a hobby. That's why I'm here today, everybody, is because of my cherished childhood. Because I never really had these as a kid. Alright, that's gonna work. Yeah, me trying to focus this is the best lighting you are going to get. I even asked if the kid that wants this wants a new speaker. I mean, it sounds fine, but it is so dull. But yeah, that's literally what we had to struggle with, and I made sure that who's going to get this, I'm like, are you sure you want this original? Oh, yeah, Game Boy Color by far. Hold on. I have one that I'm gonna be cleaning next. Yeah, we'll go over that next, but this is one of the, Japanese systems that I need to clean. So this one's clean for the most part, need to get it a new screen, and if they do decide to go with the mod, I need to, switch from batteries here, which is still kind of modifying the system a bit, to, rechargeable battery. Alright, let me go back in the comments here real quick, because I saw some people had and I didn't see. because this comment system on here sucks. Any broken Game Boys? No, what's broken isn't really broken. When I buy them, I usually buy them broken. If they are broken, I'll fix them. And if they're broken beyond repair, I modify them, which is most of the time why I buy them modded. That it took me over a year to get around to cleaning the battery leakage in my OG Game Boy. Oh my god. Magikarp beanie where Magikarp's mouth is over your head. It's so dumb, but I love it. Memories over things. Hell yeah. Yeah, it was $75 for that back in 2015. I have a Pokemon Center ugly Christmas sweater I got this year. It is Arcanine. I will post a picture of me wearing it whenever I can because I'll have my dog in the picture with me, but my first money's on records. I love music. I love music. It's one of my favorite things. I have a bunch of records, but my family has helped me with records along the way, so I appreciate them on that one. So today we're going to be working on a Pokemon Center gold silver system. I bought this in a lot with this. This is cherished right here. These are from Japan. This is why I always keep my sights set on Japanese listings. You never want to doubt or downsize when it comes to Game Boys. So it came with this, which has Gen 2, but this is a cherished system. This is the 3rd anniversary of Pokemon Red Blue from Pokemon Center. I bought these in a lot broken from eBay. One motherboard was demolished, like completely bled through with so much battery acid, there was no saving it. I That was the only motherboard that I know of that I truly threw out and felt bad for, but I had no choice because it was so bad. And so I think either this motherboard or a completely different motherboard was put into this one. Or I have them mismatched. I can't remember which, but they both came together. And the reason that this is different from ours, I'll show you. What we got in America was this. We got Pichu and Pikachu on that one. This one's one of my favorites because it's Pikachu, but it's the 3 Gen 2 starters, which is my favorite region. This is cool because it's got shiny outlinings to the starters. I just love this system. The blue is different. It's just it's a gorgeous system. I honestly absolutely love this, but it's usually kept in this baggie, so I keep it in there, but it came with, funny enough, this is something that we would do as kids, but this is how you kept track of it. They chose a Cyndaquil. But essentially, when you have these here, you can stick these in there, put it over, and then you permanently have it to where your Game Boy's around your neck or wherever you want it. So, like, you do that, you throw the Cyndaquil over it, and that's pretty much what you do. I don't want to ruin this because this is probably original from the early 2000s when this game came out, so trying to keep it, but it has a game in here. It's a Japanese Hello Kitty game. Well, good to know. I'm sitting on a Japanese Hello Kitty game. I was never into Hello Kitty growing up though, fortunately, but unfortunately. I think the only Hello Kitty character I actually liked. Oh, and you can tighten it with the Pokeball. So you can like tighten it down or you can I don't want to rip it, so I'll just leave it. But yeah, that's what it's for. So I'm gonna leave that in there. This doesn't need clean because I keep it hidden from dust and everything. I do that along with my Game Boy light. I do have a Game Boy light. All right, that stays in there. Yeah, we'll clean this one. Let's see, I know I saw some comments. I recently removed one of those from my Game Boy Color, but it came from a broken pulse ox or something. Holy shit. Really? You chose Chikorita because you thought it was the best. I do heart Sanrio. No, I'm a Choco Cat fan. I love Choco Cat. I didn't know that was a Hello Kitty character until like I was in like middle school or high school or something. But I was like, man, I love Choco Cat. They're like, oh yeah, that's a Hello Kitty character. I'm like, wait, really? I wasn't into Hello Kitty because I wasn't into pink girly stuff. I stopped getting over the girly stuff phase when I was 12 and I haven't went back. Some women will go back to being girly and pink and all that. I can't stand the color pink. I really can't. My favorite colors are cobalt blue and royal purple. I like dark colors. Come on, man. I hate when they get stuck like this. Like, it's a magnetic screwdriver, but sometimes it still isn't strong enough for these screws and they get stuck in there, which is stupid. Yeah, I can't remember if this is the system that I had to replace the motherboard or if it was the orange one. One of the two I did. It was tragic. I didn't want to get rid of it. Yeah, the way I found all this shit, I literally looked up broken Game Boys on eBay, and I still do to this day. That's the power switch. And like I said, this is like a Game Boy Pocket where it's easy and it's all just one motherboard. You only have 3 screws holding it in. Pachaco's a good one because that's when the Peanuts lost licensing for a little bit to the Peanuts. So Sanrio, I forget how this whole story went, but Sanrio made a Snoopy. And Pachaco, I didn't know about him until like the last, I want to say like 5 years. And when I realized that it's pretty much based off of Snoopy because it pretty much is Snoopy, Pachaco's now up there as well. I do also kind of like Peckle and Hangliodon. I think I'm saying those correctly, but I don't know. But uh they're just cute. Okay. No, this is the original cuz that screen still has a bit of, look at this. See that right there? Right there, that smudge that I could never get off? That's corrosion from battery acid. I told you this system was bad. So this was the system I replaced I replaced the motherboard in. That was why it was so easy to take out. Ladies and gentlemen, the speaker has left the chat. It doesn't even exist. I think I used this as this motherboard must have used to be a parts motherboard until I put it in here. So this was the motherboard I changed out. Yes, it is. That is a space heater behind me. We just got that, I think Black Friday weekend. We want to use less electricity in the house, so we switched to propane heat there. And then to get this out, you need to use the ice cube tray method. Mm, come on, baby. Come on. There we go. That's how you get the screen out. That is the screen to your original Game Boy Colors. That screen is in impeccable condition other than the thing here. Well, that's why I'm cleaning this. It's because it's just been, it turned into a parts that didn't finish. So I need to get a speaker. I just need to get a bunch of speakers is essentially what this is telling me. So I'll clean this. I'll see if this even works. It should. It's just that it doesn't have a speaker. Kind of sad about that. I didn't change the speaker in the last 10 years. What the fuck, Gabby, you slacker? Huh. Tragic. You can't mess up the buttons though, because there's only one way they go in. The DMG, that was kind of like, "Oh, well, I don't care, if it goes in, it fits, it fits." Okay, this is the infrared. You could use this for some games, like if you were playing Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, I think is what it's called. Something like that. You can play it on this with this. That's the whole part of the point of that. It didn't use it too much though. I'll have to get the Game Boy Color book because this only goes to like Game Boy DMG to Pocket. I kind of want to know about the motherboard because this is motherboard number 4. Okay. So I think the motherboard in the orange one is original. This was the one that was tragically cut short. Okay. Okay. See that in there. All right. I'm sure. Okay. And the other way to tell that this is a Japanese Game Boy versus give me 1 second, versus American, I'll show you. There's a sticker code. Okay. This is my original Game Boy Color when I started recollecting again. Oh, that code's. Oh, that's because of that sticker. Okay. La, 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 la. I know I've got this pocket. Dude, where are my color? Wait, my colors is up here. Oh, lime green puppy here. You can't see it, but it'll have code CG on the back. Here for Japan, it's PC or PD, something like that. Yeah, that's an original color. Okay. Come on. So unfortunately, I only have 30 minutes left, but if you guys like this enough, I may stream this again sometime soon. Because there's a bunch of systems I still have to probably clean in here, so this ain't the last of them, believe me. I just wanted to check on my modded systems because I'm like, well, they weren't too difficult to put together. Why are we having difficulties working? We're good now. But I have to remember that I did move with these systems. What I mean by that is they took a 64 mile trip moving from one state to 2 states lower. So, uh, moving ain't easy on them. Okay. I just need 2 for this. Let's see if this even turns on. Nope. Okay, so that screen might be dead. So this system just probably needs a whole new screen. Yeah, not even a flicker. So, I'll have to play around with this system. This is one of my conundrums. All right, last but not least, this has a little bit of battery acid. This is considered a play it loud version of the DMG. In America, there was a bunch of play it loud colors that existed. By the way, for you Europeans, this was a European exclusive color of blue. Unfortunately, my only one has sun fading on the front, but this is the true color on the back. I absolutely love this system. Europe got that one. I don't know if Europe got this one. I know Japan did. But that is a Japanese play it loud. This is one of the rarest colors to get your hand on is the white one. I have that yellow one up there. I did have a clear one. That was my first play it loud. Is it up there? Yes, it is. That's my pride and joy. This was my first different Game Boy that I had, and I was so enamored by it, and obviously you can see the inside of it. Oh, that's the power switch. I didn't put it together correctly, but yeah, this is a play it loud model. All they did was just change the colors of the systems. That's all they did. Oh, there's a red one too. Yellow, green, black, red, blue, white. Made all sorts of colors for these. All right, we're gonna toy with this one. Okay, this had a little battery acid. Oops! Normally you want to be wearing gloves with this, but do as I say, not as I do. Wear gloves when you mess with this. Hello? Hate that. These two were slightly affected by the battery acid, so I'll have to stick them in the corrosion be gone. I hate when they get stuck in there. This is one that goes up here. Okay. So mainly, did it get worse than I thought? Let me look. It's the original, so the acid may have gotten worse than I expected. We'll see though. This might be another day's project where I have to take some stuff apart because to clean these terminals, you have to unsolder them. It's the only way to do it. Come on. You got it. It always gets stuck in here. Okay. This is CPU 8. So this is even newer than the one I was just opening up and playing around with. Shockingly enough, don't know. We'll play around with this stuff. Okay. So for battery corrosion, you're going to need a few things along with, there are tabs in here. So there's a tab up here, and then there's going to be two down here. One right here and one right here. You want to push on those tabs because that's how you get your springs to come out for your battery terminals. I used to have a screwdriver that was much better at this, but I retired it. I didn't throw it away, but I retired it. Okay. Some of these aren't terrible though, and not having to stick all of them in vinegar is a good thing. Okay, this one's fine. This one needs it, not terribly, and this one needs it. Need to clean this out as well. As you can see, there's, and I think that was old battery corrosion that's in here. So it's the prior person that did it, but it doesn't make me any better. Leaving batteries in them is the worst thing you can do. Okay. So you want white vinegar, and I'm going to try and show you what they do, but so stick one of those. And what it does is it causes a reaction to the Mercedes I learned to drive on was not manual. It was a SUV. It was definitely a mom vehicle. It was a GLK 350. It was a 2012 GLK 350. And we'll stick this in there. A little bit of a reaction. Not too terrible though, so I must have just barely caught it. So I can't really visually show you because it's not having too terrible of a reaction, but we're going to clean these corners with vinegar here since there was some corrosion in here. Oh, for God's sakes, get out. It's sticking in there, like it will not come out. I have literally unscrewed you to the fullest. Thank you. Go away. So yeah, because of how extensive it is into the screw ports here, there was worse battery corrosion in here before I got it. So this was not all due to me. Not all of it. Okay. Because what you can see here, old corrosion, old corrosion, old corrosion. That was before me though, because it would be very, very bright on it. But I never, and still didn't, take this fully apart. So these ones here that are soldered get the worst of it. Ugh. Yeah, that's old. Those are old. Okay. That at least confirms it. I don't want to dunk this whole thing in. I hate wasting so much white vinegar, but I need to at least get this spring in there somewhat. I need it to fizzle some of this. Ew. Yeah. That's why I didn't submerge the whole thing. You don't really want to do that, honestly. But it at least helps clean it. Okay. All right. I didn't make too horrible of a mistake then. That's pretty good. Yeah, when I said the nickel plating, this is what I meant. See how it's shiny and everything? When you and s- it was if you can see that, see all the pitting there? That was the start of corrosion and the rust pitting. If you leave it longer, it gets worse. And that nickel plating will come off when you use the white vinegar. So after like you use the vinegar, sometimes you'll just want to put the nickel plating back on, but I haven't had to do that, so I haven't had to play science, Bill Nye the Science Guy. All right, then I bend the tabs back up, so this way I can put this back in. Guess where is the good question. There. And then it's in there. See? Ain't coming out. All right. Gonna have a bit of a mess because I had to dip that. So, want to hold this. It's already a mess waiting to happen. And now my hands are gonna smell like Easter eggs. I knew getting these screws was where it's gonna tip it over the top. Okay. There we go. There. Wait, I didn't make too bad of a mess. It's still on a... Okay. Now let's clean this. Yeah, it didn't get too bad. It was just the corners on this one. It was just the corners a little bit. Let's see if it'll focus. Just a little bit. A little bit on this one. Come on, phone. There you go. Yep. And then these screws here. There's that. Yeah, you is right. Battery acid and corrosion ain't no joke. That's why I said you should wear gloves messing with this. Should. I don't. Everything else looks solid. All right, let's put these springs back in. Okay. And then I have to bend this upwards. There we go. Okay. Let's hook this back up, put it back in. I always somehow, one way or another, forget the power switch, so there we go. That solder's getting a little old, though. I'm gonna have to retouch up some of these solder points in some of these systems. And probably one day change the capacitors, but these capacitors are still good. Hold on. It decided to goof up on the button for God knows why. Not like I put you in there. Thank you. That's why I was like, why does that look funny? Okay, one more. Okay, now let's put this back together. I'm definitely going to check and see if this works. Okay. There. I fixed my own goof. I always start from the outside whenever I try to re-put in the screws. So I start from the corners and then I do the middle ones. Test this puppy out real quick. Mm. Oh, I have vertical lines. All right, check that out. So you see how there's lines missing here? That is due to age and the LCD starting to come off of the ribbon. So there is a way to fix that. Looks like I might be plugging in my soldering iron after all. Okay. Age. It does it with age usually. Let me. Yeah, age is usually the reason. Okay. Okay. I'm doing this straight in the dark. Ugh. Okay. That's on. So let's take this apart again real quick and we'll fiddle with this. I'll show you how to fix this. This is something I did starting out. I messed with DMGs first just because they were easier to get your hands on back then, 10 years ago. And everyone was modifying them then because of how shitty the screens were. So we're going to go to that front half of the screen. And it is a little bit finicky because you are going to have to play around with the front ribbon cable. Well, that one came out. Of course, two want to be a butthead. You being one. Go. Come on. Thank you. So I'll have to keep the batteries in here. Usually you don't want static, but I'm gonna have to just. All right, now we're taking off the front half like I showed you for the LCD. Except we're gonna be playing around with the front ribbon, so I'll show you this. Why all of a sudden does the neighbor's dogs want to start barking? Okay. You don't need your buttons for this either. Because mainly you're just messing with the screen. So what you're going to be doing, and it looks like I've tried doing this once before maybe, is you're going to be taking off, there's a rubber piece down here, and you're going to be warming up the contacts because it loses the contact with the glue over time just due to age. I mean, these systems are going on 30 years old, so yes. So I'm going to plug this back in. And hey, some of my batteries are in here, but guess what? Not the right ones. These are CR1616s. But okay, just that. We'll play with that. All right. A lot of them are here. I'm gonna play with the contrast here so you can see the lines better. So you can see where it's not sticking. Have you ever burned yourself? No. But when I was taking apart a Game Boy Advance SP, which I think that's in my Game Boy Advance SP cleaning video I finally posted all those years later. I still have the scar to prove it, but I gouged myself a little bit with the screwdriver trying to get the hinges from a Game Boy Advance SP out. Where the hell is it? Here. So, with an SP, you have the hinges on both sides. Getting those out are the biggest pain in the ass known to man, and I hate it. Absolutely do. Even that right there was part of the reason I hate doing it. So, what you're doing is you're just lightly treading the soldering iron across this area to get the lines back in. Because when I put pressure, I can get the lines to come back in. Now, if you have horizontal lines like my first Game Boy DMG does, there's no fixing that, unfortunately. There's just no way to fix that. So I'm just applying light pressure. You let the heat kick in and then you just see where you're at. See if the lines come back or if they stay down. And if it becomes too much of an issue, this Play It Loud may turn into a modded Game Boy. And you'll find what lines go where. I may have to turn this up. Let me let that heat up real quick a little bit more. I'm putting it up to 400 to see if that helps, but this screen might not have the adhesive it once had anymore. I may just mod this system. Let's see here. Okay. You like dark colors, I like pastel ones. That's why when I made this, I was like, man, I'm showing a touch of my girly side, but it's still blue and purple. um, let's see. Speaker is left. So McDonald's had Hello Kitty and Dan in spacesuits in the early 2000s. I still have them. I do love Sanrio. I would compare it on mine, but the serial number sticker is gone. It was illegible and worn by when I got it in mid 2007, but the remnants have since is probably my favorite. This green is it's a nice green. Um, is the worst thing you can do. How often do you do that yourself? Well, now I don't have any systems other than the red one that we already modified. That's the only one that has batteries in it. I learned stick on my Toyota Celica I bought in high school for $300. A, Toyota Celicas are amazing vehicles. B, that's badass. I still am kind of learning manual. I've played around in my fiance's sister's. She has a Chevy Sonic and it is a manual. And I got pretty decent with it. I will say, if I kept up with it consistently for a week on end, I'd have it down packed. But I don't have a manual vehicle to use on all odds and ends and afford to be able to pay her clutch. So I haven't been able to consistently do that. Um, don't let me. Bill Nye, the science guy. Flux capacitor. The flux capacitors! I need gigawatts. And when he says gigawatts, it kills me because it's gigawatts. Is your screwdriver magnetic? Yes, it is. I got this magnetic screwdriver set off of Amazon. This was like, and then sorry about that. My fiance is trying to call me while I'm still doing this. Um, You need a tray for the screws. Yes, I do. I do need to get a tray for the screws. You know, have you ever burned yourself? Do you have a PlayStation Portal? Nope. Wonder if the screen cancer in mine will eventually spread to the viewable area. It might. Contact cleanser did fix the volume and contrast. Oh, I might try that. Does it spread? It does a little bit. What if you received it during the stream? What is a WEA, if you don't mind me asking, because I don't know what that is. Mm. I'm trying not to do it over much because you can burn this and make it virtually useless. I've never done that before, but I've seen or heard people do it. Yeah, and sometimes the pixels don't want to be fixed. I have fixed multiple DMGs, but this I think is the only one that has proven to be a pain in my ass. I'm applying pressure. Like some of these don't even want to register, so I'm wondering if they are gone with the chat. The pixels have left the chat. Which that's okay. If I have to, I'll modify this. Or I'll get it a new one because honestly, I hate to have to. This is such a beautiful Game Boy. But that's what it's supposed to do. It's proving to be a bit of a bitch. So, well, if those batteries were in there, please tell me. Huh? Hey, how's about we do another stream where I mess around with the batteries? Because these are proper batteries for your Game Boy games, and they have the arms with them. CR2025s. These are normally car batteries for your car keys, but to me, they're for Game Boys, so I keep a whole bunch of them for stuff like this. So I will change that Pokemon Crystal one. I think I might do another stream of doing this, excuse me, in the future. So, let me turn it this way because I will put that Game Boy back together. But I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I really had fun with trying this out on the phone and everything. It is a little weird and wonky. Sorry everything's backwards, but that's mirror reflection kind of. But I if I don't see you guys before I leave for the holidays, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year. And I will see you guys in the new year. But if uh I might Sunday stream and I might just do this again, but I will obviously put Crystal's battery in it. There will be other systems I can work on, that sort of thing. But I hope you guys enjoy and I will catch you guys later. See ya. Let me see. I'm going to figure out how to end this. So sorry if this is an awkward ending outro. Post if you do stream. I will post. I'll make sure I let you guys know. I won't just be like impromptu, hey guys. No, I'll make sure I post before it. I'll see you guys.